What is going on, comic fam? It's your boy, the Bearded Comic Bro, and I am welcoming back to the show Mark London. Welcome back, my friend.
Thank you for having me, sir. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Man, I always like it. You are part of Mad Cave Studios, CEO, Chief Creative Officer, and you are also really just a fantastic writer. And all your books at Mad Cave. I think last time we were on, you were talking about the Zeus. Uh,
Oh, the Hunt Kill Repeat. Yeah.
Yes, Hunt Kill Repeat. Oh, it was so good. Um, and then since then, you kind of went in this whole rampage of doing just these series, and now we're culminating to this event, and I want to hop into it. But before we do, if someone's missed, it's been a while since you've been on the show. So,
hmm
how did you kind of get connected in creating comics?
for me, growing up in the 80s, I mean, I think that it was a beautiful time to just be exposed to all sort of storytelling, whether it be video games, whether it be literature, whether it be comics, whether it be just like books. So for me, I mean, I tried to that was my escapism back in the day. That was my social media back in the day. So
Yeah,
that's really where I found comfort and refuge in this type of stories, characters, storytelling as a whole. So for me, I think that I've always been a movie buff, but uh, but again, I think the comic books is a very close second to it
yeah.
because ever since I picked up my first comic book, I mean, I was just like blown away, and sequential art for me just has it just put a smile in my face. So I think that again, growing up and being exposed to it, I think that eventually I was just like, man, I hope that I can do this. I hope that one day I can really try to do this. I took a shot at writing screenplays for movies. That is another story for another day. But again, happy accident, and then a movie script actually turned out into one of my first comic books when we started Mad Cave Studios almost 11 years ago. So I guess that one thing led to another, and Greg, and that's and the rest is history, as they say.
Yeah, that's so good. So Battle Cats was a screenplay originally that turned into a comic book.
Actually, no. Actually, it was something called Midnight Task Force.
Oh, okay.
It was actually Midnight Task Force, which now like I like to call it the Exit City that I'm sure that we're gonna be talking about a
Yes.
little bit of it. It's really like its spiritual successor to
Okay.
it, to some of the concepts and some of the characters from back then. So it was starting out. I mean, I wanted really to really come out the gate with Midnight, but also I think that at the time we were kind of just debating like, okay, what's a better book to actually launch a publishing company? And then obviously Battle Cats was the bigger, epic world
Right.
building experience, role playing. It appealed to a wider audience. So then that's why we decided to actually focus on Battle Cats and start the company with Battle Cats. But thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, no, I just when you said it, I was like, oh wait, was that it? So no, that's awesome. So you've been with Mad Cave for, it seems like from the get-go.
Yeah.
And like we said, you had Hunt Kill Repeat that came out last time we were talking. It was right at the beginning of that. The first arc wrapped up. It was I loved it. But then you kind of came out and were like, I'm gonna do these three series. We had Revolution 9, we had The Hour of the Wolf, and we had Exit City. And then you said, and then hold on, because not only are we going to make these three fantastic series, we're going to culminate with a massive crossover in summer. And here we are at Endless Nights. So, kind of just talk to me about this kind of idea, this concept of the series, and then kind of like having this, big event this summer, and where this kind of what drew you into doing this.
Mhm. I've always been a sucker for the big again, growing up with Marvel and DC and being exposed to those type of crossovers, those summer crossovers from back in the day. They were just amazing. I mean, in terms of X-Men versus Avengers or Executioner Saga or everything. I mean that was going on back in the day. Final Crisis. everything. I mean, so for me, I mean, always starting Mad Cave. I mean, Mad Cave was actually it was like a love letter to all the things that I wanted and all the things that I was passionate about growing up and that I really, really, really to put out there. So one of the things that was always on the table was, hey, a crossover. How cool could it be? And don't get me even started on Valiant. Valiant had also massive crossovers. I mean,
Mhm.
all these cool characters. I mean, just crossing between series. So I thought that that was really, really cool. Not only now we're subject in the comic book spectrum of things, very like bite-sized stories,
Mm.
which they're kind of like contained and they're kind of like their own thing. And you go in there and you're like, okay, it's a mini series, 4 or 5 issues, 6 issues max now. But really, there's no more meat. There's no more that you can latch on. I still remember and remember fondly. Going deep with Invincible, with
Mhm.
Sandman, Hellboy, even Why the Last Man, hey, East of West, those series that were actually just like you were actually expecting, even if arcs would end and new ones would start, but you were kind of just invested like, okay, where this card is going. So I tried to, so a crossover was always like on the back of my mind in terms of like, I really want to share this with the audience. I
Mhm.
mean, I think that they're so cool, but obviously starting out as an indie publisher, I mean, you cannot just go out the gate and be like, okay, here's a massive crossover that you're gonna be rivaling. I mean, the greats, Marvel and DC and even
Right.
Valiant. So, and because we also don't do superheroes, but it was more a little bit of like, okay, this very three different stories, as you well mentioned, Greg, which was a Revolution 9, Exit City, and Hour of the Wolf. Each one that can be read on its own because each one I think I we actually that was part of the design, which is like they have their own themes. They're kind of like their own thing. They're so different. So
Mhm.
then bringing them together and putting all the pieces together for a crossover, a lot of people were asking me like, but how are you really gonna make this fit? I mean, you do have Hour of the Wolf, which is a little bit of you got horror in there, but you
Right.
have Exit City, which is kind of like a noir detective-ish type of story, and then you have Revolution 9, which is just an assassin on the run. I mean, just like doing what assassins do. So
Right.
so it was just like so it was also a challenge for me in terms of like, okay, how can I make this thing work? How is going to be something that is going to pay off for the reader and that they're going to you're really giving them more bang for the buck. But again, because of the way that the industry is right now in a bite-sized way. So that's why Revolution 9 is only 4 issues, Hour of the Wall is 4 issues, and Exit City is also 4 issues, and the crossover is also 4 issues. So little by little, so let's just say like a little experiment from a little independent company because it's a love letter to what I grew up with, which was characters, very cool characters. I mean, crossing over eventually.
Yeah. So when you started out with your three series, I assume you had it in mind that you were always going to bring it to a crossover. You just needed to figure out what characters were going to do it, right? You had to create that
Hmm?
catalyst for them to kind of say like, here's what we want to take these characters to this crossover.
Correct. And even just again going with this first series, with this first 3 series,
Yeah.
and I'm going to tell you in a little bit why this first 3 series is because I always knew that they were going to cross over. Uh, it, the challenging part was like, okay, how are we going to pull this off and how are we going to do it? But I really wanted a crossover.
Yeah. So if we don't mind a little bit, if someone hasn't gotten to check out these series and they're like, hey, I want to get into Endless Nights, right? It's coming out in June, I believe, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Yep.
In four.
Um,
Mhm.
so like what kind of is like the elevator pitch of the other three so they can kind of get familiar with it to get to the crossover. So like Revolution 9, let's start there. Kind of what was that story for that of like the design of that character? Because that was the one that you launched this kind of world with, right?
Yeah. Again, also Revolution 9, I mean, is one of the characters that I started Mad Cave with, which back in the day was RV9. So, I mean, I love Velveteen so much that it was like, okay, we're basically just going to revamp this. And it's basically your, yeah, Kill Bill meets John Wick.
Yeah.
That's a very cut and dry way of putting what
Yeah, yeah,
Revolution
yeah.
9 is. An assassin on the run. That she defects from the Order of Nine, which is a secret society, pulling strings ever since the Roman Empire. This is kind of like okay, deep mystery,
Mhm.
but full action. Exit City is a little bit more noir detective. You can play with a little bit of a techno thing. A bunch of billionaires decided to they actually thought that it was a good idea to build an island that it was going to be policed by AI a couple of 100 miles from the coast of California. And they thought that that was probably a good idea. So, like everything man-made, I mean, it's not a good idea. So you
No.
have these two detectives in the middle of Exit City just trying to solve a grisly murder that is going on. But again, Exit City is also an onion that you're going to be peeling its pieces little by little as we go into the more in when we start digging what
Yeah.
Exit City really is. And then Hour of the Wolf, it spawned from the world of Wovenheart.
Hmm.
Again, another series that I wrote many years ago. So Owen Blackwood is it's an operative of Wolvenheart, and he's on a mission that there's a haunted painting that is actually terrorizing this family, and he has to go in because the hour of the wolf is basically from 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. And he has to go in, and he only has an hour to basically save this family and save the world. So very three different stories
Yeah.
for anybody that hasn't got a chance to check them out.
Yeah, and they're kind of like it seems like they have a basis in some of the other stuff of Mad Cave, but you really can they can be standalone series. Like you can hop right in if you haven't read any Wolvenheart stuff, and to Arrow Wolf and
Mhm.
things like that. So where was it for you as creating this crossover, right, with Endless Nights here? How did you decide that you wanted to craft it so that you could, bring in new readers that might not have checked out the other stuff, but also allowing people who have invested deep into, the
Mhm.
history of these characters? How'd you kind of find that balance to, entertain both?
It's you have to try to make it always as simple as possible because of
Mhm.
exactly what you just said, Greg. I mean, it has to be like a jump on point of the series. If somebody picks up Endless Night and they're like gonna be like, okay, you are thrown in the mix, you hit the ground running, but it's gonna be easy for you to understand. If you want to actually go back and try to understand these characters a little bit better, or you are curious about these characters, then you can go back into their own series. But the way that it was designed is that you can pick each of the series and stand alone. Okay, each one of these things is an adventure. Even the crossover Endless Night is an adventure. So I think that you're right. The tough part was actually finding a good balance of being able to give enough um, for fans of the series or people that have read the previous issues from these other IPs, or somebody that is just like, hey, this seems interesting. I mean, let's check it out.
Yeah. Well, and I do think you do because I was reading those three series as they were coming out. But in prepping for this interview with Endless Nights, I wanted to check that one out. And then
Mhm,
I went back and reread the trades of the three issues to just kind of get me in the right mindset.
mhm,
And what I find interesting is you could pick up Endless Night, and like you said, it's a mystery. You've got these characters like, who is this? But they're all intertwined in a way that you don't necessarily know how they're intertwined,
mhm.
and you go, this is interesting. And to someone that hasn't read the previous series, they're like, why are they chasing this guy? It doesn't matter. They're just hunting down this person. But then, like, as you get into it, you can expand more and get more depth. If you're like, I really like this, I want more. Well, then you go, like, let's just go backwards and find out more.
Correct. And it's also an opportunity because since the you have to find the sweet spot in terms that since these characters are basically just coming together for the first time, it's the perfect introduction, not only for the characters but also for the reader.
Right.
So you can just like so in a nutshell, you're gonna know what A character is doing or has done, what B character is doing or has done, and then you get a snippet of what they were doing in their own series,
Yeah.
so to speak. So really, you're kind of like retelling a little bit.
Mm.
So that's why again, it pays off. I mean, for readers of the of the other series, and also for new readers.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned that, right? Like of, how you got to introduce the characters to each other and how often we see that, right? You see a crossover like whatever it is, like a DC Marvel crossover, even those they got to be like, "Well, who are you?" And like half the time the good guys are fighting because they don't know who the other one is until they figure it out and it's a reintroduction. And so you're still doing that just with maybe characters that people are learning for the first time or have just learned more recently.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that that's fun for me
Yeah.
in terms that you're doing it also for the first time, because you're absolutely right. I mean, when we have the big two doing crossovers, I mean, it's already pre-established. I mean, we've already seen when they meet up for the first time or their origin story. So then you have to get creative. Here, it was an opportunity to just clean slate, do your own thing, see and see what comes out at the end.
Yeah. So we've kind of hit around it. We've talked about Endless Nights a little bit, but like what ultimately is the story of this four-issue arc that you've talked about? If people are like, I want to check this out. This is like I'm so intrigued by this because you should be if you're listening to this interview by now. You should be like, tell me more. So tell us a little bit about where's this arc and where's the story, where are you taking it?
One of the things that revolve around the underworld universe, because this is taking place in something that we've called the underworld universe. So all the characters, all the issues that you're gonna see that actually have the underworld universe, they share like a common thread, or it's really their own. They have like their own world and their
Hmm.
own rules. So in the underworld, there's this secret society, as kind of like what we were talking about in Revolution 9, which is the Order of Nine. And something happens in Revolution 9. I don't want to spoil it for any that have read that issue, but let's just say that the Order of the Nine want something. Um, and if that person gets that something, they will be rewarded. So the catalyst in Endless Night is that the Order of the Nine is seeking for something,
Yeah.
and somebody wants to get that for the Order of the Nine, and it's something that is going to be related to Owen Blackwood, which is your main character in Hour of the Wolf.
Hmm.
Obviously, the center stage is Exit City, so you're pitting all these characters in Exit City, and then obviously Velveteen, which is your main character from Revolution 9. She also has a reason to go to Exit City, which is going to be the reason why, again, she was a part of the Order of Nine. And again, it's all motivations, and they all going to have a reason to actually be there in the same moment.
Yeah. How did you come about with this creative team for this project? Because you've had different creative teams on the other series, I believe. Where
Mhm.
was it like you wanted to bring this for this, this arc, this series? How did you figure out how the team was going to come about?
Well, you always try to tailor the strength of your artist to the
Hmm.
story. So, because Revolution 9, Exit City, and Hour of the Wolf, I mean, they do need certain aesthetics, there's a certain look to it, certain feel. I mean, you try to pick artists that are actually that's their forte. But with Endless Night, that it was just literally a little bit of a balls to the wall, bombastic,
Uh-huh.
widescreen action. So you needed somebody that could actually deliver in that sense. And the editor for the Underworld is it was first Chris Fernandez, but now we are working with Mike Martz, which I think that he's one of the best editor in comics, if not the best. I might be biased, but I'm very objective, just so you know. But no, Mike is just a force to be reckoned with, and I think that he was the one that actually, when he read the script, he was like, "Hey, you know what? I think that I have the perfect candidate for you. I think that Tom Derenick, I think that he has experience. I mean, with the big two, he has really tackled, I mean, assemble of characters and big books. So I think that he's your guy." And I was like, okay. And as soon as I saw the first pages that I mean Tom was proposing and was like, oh my God, this is a no-brainer. This is really what we want for the series. And I think that Mike nailed it
Yeah.
by bringing Tom on board. So that's really what you want.
Hmm.
I had an idea and it couldn't come out better.
Yeah. Well, that's what you want to from editors, right? You want people that are going to put the best people in the room together to make the project sing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I think you do here. So that works out great. So,
Mm-hmm.
um,
100%.
oh yeah. So what can we expect from, this universe that you've created? We have this series coming out. It's 4 issues, you've said.
Yep.
Um, is it, without going too far into the weeds, is this something that we want to continue to explore in different avenues and same?
Well, what Endless Night is going to do, I think, is going to wrap up phase one
Okay.
because we're actually currently working on phase two. And phase two, what he's going to do is phase two is going to introduce 5 new books, um, which is going to be like with 5 different characters. Or stories that we're really, really going to blow up your mind. And then obviously we're going to pull all your initial characters, so the characters that were introduced, Velveteen, Miller, McCormick, and Owen, to this new IPs, and then we're gonna do another crossover, but this time it's just gonna be bigger. So we're trying to get a little bit more ambitious
Yeah.
with a little experiment. So that's why it was confined to okay, 4 issues for this series, 4 issues for this series, 4 issues for this series, and then 4 issues for the crossover. But now we're actually gonna go. There are 2 of the series in phase two of the new series, which are actually going to be 12 issues. So now we're now starting to get a little bit
Yeah.
more confident where we're building. But also Revolution 9, Hour of the Wolf, and Exit City, they're actually continuing. They're also going to be continuing. And just between the two of us, Greg, I mean, please don't tell the team. I mean, nobody can know this. So, okay. So Revolution 9 is going to be written by Stevie Orlando. Exit City is going to be written by Rich Douek. And then we have Hour of the Wolf, which is going to be written by Olivia Quartero Briggs, which is fresh off of a Kill Train. So you didn't hear it from me, but the series are continuing. Again, we're trying to expand this. So
Yeah.
I'm focusing on phase two, and then probably we would probably do the same, and then we will bring in um, other fresh voices, heavy hitters that can actually help us expand this experiment and hey, have a good time with the comics.
Yeah.
That's our motto.
It's so good. I mean, I won't say anything, 'cause no one watched this or listened to this. So,
Exactly. So this is going to be a little secret, okay?
right.
Please, Greg.
It's on the internet, but no one, no one.
I mean, please keep it between the two of us.
Yeah, we'll do it. So how do you, as a creative, like, is it hard for you sometimes to let your, characters go to other people, or is it exciting for you to kind of see like, ooh, this is an interesting take that where do you fall in that?
I'm not a jealous person at all. No, it's but I can see and that I can of course I understand your question and it's a very good question because yes, you do feel protective
Hmm.
of the characters that you create. But again, for me, it's humbling, it's an honor. I
Yeah.
mean, even having Olivia, you ask her like, hey, do you want to do this? Why don't you take a stab at it? And then you see the pitch, you see what she's working on, and then you're just blown away, which I think that she elevated actually the character. I think that is going to be cooler than the one we have. I mean, and that's the point of this thing. I mean, we need to keep on pushing the boundaries and keep improving. Same for Rich and same for Steve. I mean, their proposal, of course, you take a look at their proposal and you're like, okay, but you trust these people enough. I mean, they're professional
Yeah.
enough that they're actually gonna take these characters and elevate them. And for me, there's no bigger compliment. I mean, than that. First, that they want to do it because they might be like, no, sir. I mean, come on. But that they actually want to do it. That you actually show them something, and they're like, hell yeah, okay, I like
Yeah.
this stuff. And so you're like, oh, so right there for me is a win. For me, I mean, I've always seen the creative process, working in comic books. That's what we do every year through Mad Cave at Talent Search because we want to share this. We want to give voices. So even when my voice gets heightened by these other creators, I mean, for me, that's exactly what we're doing, Greg.
Yeah.
That's what comics should be.
Yeah. And you mentioned the talent search. Like, I think that's fantastic. It's one of the favorite things. Like, I've had multiple of the talent search winners on this channel, and have created tons of series that I've fallen in love with. And
Hmm.
I think that's so cool. Like, uh, that's one of the things I appreciate about Mad Cave as a company. You mentioned about, getting the best people together on these books, kind of, but it also feels like how you're doing the company, right? Like you guys are making these, bringing in the best of the best in the world of comics, creating these wonderful comics, and then you're taking chances, right? You're going out and you're bringing some cool stories and stuff like that. So, and if you're listening to this interview or watching this interview and you haven't checked out something from Mad Cave, you're new to the show because I feel like I have read and hyped up so much Mad Cave books because they've been so good lately.
Hmm. No, and thank you for that, Greg. I mean, you've been one of our supporters. I mean, I think that forever, and we really would not be here without you. So really kudos to you and what you do, sir. And but that's the thing. I mean, we need to keep the bar high,
Yeah.
and we need to keep on pushing the envelope, and that's what we're always trying, like all these things. Like I said, I mean, just going back to the crossover, it was like, you're doing a crossover? You're an independent comic book. What are you doing? No, no, relax. I mean, hey, this is this is something that I think that I owe readers
Yeah.
that actually understand of have actually been in this journey with us. So again, we will
Yeah.
keep pushing the envelope, as you say, Greg.
I love it. I love it. And I think I highly recommend if you haven't um dove into these series, I think you really, like we've talked about a lot on the show, check out Endless Night. And then what I would recommend doing is saying, I like this character, and then go back and find out more about said character. And I think that would be a great way because there's unique, like that's what I find so fascinating about this crossover is this isn't like, you know, Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman and or Wolverine, who are all kind of like variations of the same thing of a superhero. Like you have an assassin, you have a horror book, and then you have this like crime noir book. Like you're like, these are three things that
Mhm.
aren't the same.
100%. And that's sometimes what is the fun part as a writer, that is like, okay, how are we going to make this work? And but at the end of the day, I mean, just to try to keep it grounded to
Yeah.
a certain extent, that you're like, okay, this is sure, you have your sci-fi elements, but again, they're grounded in reality, and oh, okay, this could happen. So as with science fiction, you're allowed one big lie. So let's use it wisely.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that aspect, and that's so cool. So, Mark, is there anything we haven't gotten to touch on about Endless Nights or Mad Cave that you're like, ooh, we should mention this?
Well, always keep your eyes peeled for everything that Matt Cave is doing. I mean, we're gonna really break it this summer, coming out with Speed Racer and the Phantom. I mean, two things that again have been one of my passions since forever. So I mean, it's an honor to be able to publish those great stories and from those very cool characters. And yeah, keep checking everything that we're doing at Mad Cave. We're always trying to actually come up with quality stuff to connect with you guys. And yeah, keep your eyes peeled also for the talent search. I mean,
Yeah.
and if you want to do, if you've thought of just like working in comics, or you have an idea where you're an artist, a letterer, a colorist, a writer, I mean, hey, take a shot, get involved. So best thing to do is just check out our socials or subscribe to our newsletter, and you're gonna see everything that we're working on.
Yeah, and you mentioned Speed Racer and Phantom, and if you're listening to this and you haven't gotten to check those out, those were two free comic book day issues that came out recently. Go check your shop, see if they have any leftover stock. Pick up Speed Racer because also isn't Racer X in the back of that one as well?
Yes,
With Mark
Razor X
Russell,
is in
because
the
David
back.
Pepos is killing it with Speed Racer, and then
Yes.
you had Mark Russell with the
Uh-huh.
Racer X story, and then
Correct.
now we're bringing in the Phantom.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
so good. You got me in my nostalgic feels when I saw that you all were doing the Phantom. Like, obviously, Defenders of the Earth was there, but then like to get a Phantom story.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
I think
So
that with Defenders of the Earth, exactly. We just gave you a little bit of taste of something that we really wanted for you guys. So again, more cool things are in the works. We're always tinkering in the cave, and trying to get the best books out there. And hey, we do this, we love it, and we're gonna keep at it.
yeah.
Hopefully.
Well, Mark, where can people follow along with you, stay up to date with what you're working on, and as
Yeah.
also as what Mad Cave's doing?
Yeah, check out our socials, Mad Cave Studios, or I'm available on X, on Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm gonna start really working on Substack. So check out a few things if that's your cup of coffee. But if not, I mean, again, just subscribe to our newsletter, and then you're gonna see plenty of all of our creators, and of course, what I'm planning to do with the underworld and my latest works.
Nice. Well, Mark, thank you so much just for taking time again to talk about your series, talk about Mad Cave, because it's always fun to have you on the show and just geek out with you.
I love it. I love it. Likewise, man.
So, with that being said, gang, go pick up Endless Nights. Time this is dropping, uh, order it from your shop so you can get it on your poll so you don't miss out. And as always, hopefully you can find some time to curl up, grab a book, and nerd out.